Hello and welcome to my channel. This is another in my St. Patrick's Day 2018 card series. This card features a cute little leprechaun die cut, which I've done with a little bit of watercoloring and a little bit of masking technique, which I will show you. This design is based on one of the nail designs that I have gotten this holiday, and I'll show that also. This card layout is very easy to replicate. You can use it for any occasion, not just St. Patrick's Day. Let me move this out of the way and show you how to create this card. As I mentioned, the design on my nails is where I got the idea for this card. And then you see the little leprechaun belt and the pants. So I thought it was adorable and I wanted to make a card designed to feature it, but this is like maybe the 6th or 7th St. Patrick's Day card and I finally got around to it. But here we go. These are the inks I'm going to be using today. I have two distress inks, Ripe Persimmon and Brushed Corduroy. I have, of course, my Versafine Onyx Black, and I'm using these Memento inks, Peanut Brittle, Bamboo Leaves, and Cottage Ivy. I'm going to be doing watercoloring of the little leprechaun guy, so I have these assorted watercolor pencils, mostly greens. I will list all of that on my in the comment section. I'm also going to be using a green and gold Wink of Stella pen, brush pen. The stamps I'm using today is going to be Lucky Friends by Heffy Doodle, and this comes with matching die cuts. I'm using this photo frame from Impression Obsession. I got both of these from Urban Scrapbookers in Edmond, Washington. There'll be a link down below for their YouTube channel. And I'm using the Classic Squares Large from Spellbinders. I will also be using some Shamrock stickers. I got this from the dollar store. And some more rhinestones. I think that's everything. Oh, I will need a ink blending tool. Forgot that part. So let me move these things out of the way and start in with creating this card for you. I'm going to start off working on the leprechaun. So I'm stamping him in the Versafine. I'm going to be sure that I get a really good impression of the black right off the bat, because since I'm not using my Misty tool, I will not be able to stamp it a second time to darken it up. And this is watercolor paper. Okay, I got a good job for that. I'll clean that later. Actually, I'll clean it now since I have to wait just a second for that to dry. Now, I'm going to do watercoloring on the hat, and then I'm going to go through and do the whole piece fast up. So I don't want to keep you watching me do all this, because this will be a little tedious for me, because watercoloring is not the best thing that I do, but I'm enjoying it. So how the watercoloring basically is the same steps. You start with the light, and then you go to the medium, and then to the dark. So I'm going to go all over with the lightest green that I have, and then with the medium I will shade from the left and also from the right. And this makes a natural highlight area in the center. And I didn't do the brim of the hat, just realized that. Same thing. And now I'm going to highlight the leftmost side with the darkest of my greens, and also along the top, along the brim. There. Now I will get my water pen, which I didn't think to take out, and paper towel, and you just make sure the water's flowing and you blend it out. If you have a little too much water, just wipe it off with your paper towel. And this creates a natural blended area in the center. Okay, now I'm going to go through and do the rest. The only thing to remember is when you're putting the water in the different sections, don't work on two sections side by side because the water will blend and you'll get a very muddy result. So you have to hop around with the color. Okay, that's as much as I'm going to do on this little guy. These little bits are so small, I'm not even going to bother to blend them out with the water. I think the blending is good enough just like this. But you, of course, could do it with the water if you felt that you needed it. I'm going to highlight his little belt, buckle on his hat with some gold, which I realized I forgot to do on my original. Add a little bit of sparkly. Okay, now the next step. This stamp set has matching dies, so I'm going to use those. If you had the stamp set but not the dies, then of course you could fussy cut this out with a pair of sharp scissors. And there he is, a little leprechaun. Also, I have this piece of paper, which I'm going to use to help me line up the front panels, but I need to cut out the center because I want to get this piece of paper. Oh, I got bad lighting here. Sorry. There we go. I want to get this square. If you didn't want to bother with this step, you could just get another piece of white paper, but I'm going to use this. So this is going to be a very tight fit, but I have this square and I'm going to line it up within the center and just die cut this out, and this will be this square here. Now some assembly for the front panel. I trimmed the gold cardstock down to a square 3/4 of an inch, and this I trimmed off an edge of this strip. This is a 1/2 inch square. So this step that I'm getting ready to show you now, you don't need to do it, but when I'm trying to line up 2 or more pieces of paper, I frequently have trouble getting it to the right dimension. So what I usually do is cut a piece of white copy paper, in this case this is cardstock, to the dimensions that I need, and I use that to help me line it up. So I'm just going to simply tape the pieces of paper in place on this. And since it's got a giant hole in the center, I have to be a little bit careful to make sure that I don't miss it. So this, of course, is completely optional. If you're able to do it without this extra part, then please go right ahead, but I simply cannot. Okay, and this I actually should have put down first. It's a nicer edge. Don't worry, this is not going to add too much time to this video because generally this is going to be a very quick process. This is a very simple design. So now that I have that in place, and I have of course glued it down to my work surface. Be careful about that. And I think the thing to do is to immediately glue this down to my white since I'm having troubles already. So just add some tape. across the center. Oh, wait, I need the black first. Almost forgot. I'm going to have to do this up in my hand. So this is almost getting to the point of being a blooper reel. I'm making a few mistakes here. I'm sorry, people. Hang in there with me. So I want to have this right even with the plaid paper so that I'm showing a nice good bit of the green. And it's a little crooked. Let me pull it closer. Sorry. There. Quickly trim off the edge of the black. This is easier to do before I put it down to the white. That's why I pulled it back up. This has been a little bit trickier. Not impossible, but trickier. Now I'll put it in place. Now I don't have to worry about that. This, I'm going to glue this and this with a little bit of this Tombow. And this is tricky, it's little teeny. So I'm gonna grab my tweezers so I don't have to get my big little fingers in the way. Now I need to stamp this panel here. So I've taken the foam out of my Misty tool because this stamp is a thicker rubber one. And I've already put the stamp on the door where I need it to be. Let me double check. Yes. And I'm just going to quickly stamp this. But not with that black. I almost made a boo-boo. I'm going to use the peanut brittle for this. Okay, I think that's good. So this is the center part of that white panel that I used to line that up. Of course, you could just get another piece of white paper. Okay. Now what I have done, move this out of the way real quick. Okay, my second Misty, and I already have the stamps in place. But what I have done is I have gotten another piece of copy paper and I have stamped where the frame is in relation to this one, and I've put the cauldron and the coins where I need them to be. I use this to help me line up where the stamps needed to be. So that's what that purpose for. So the first thing I need to do is stamp my coins in Versafine. Okay, and I'm going to hold that in place in case I don't get dark enough. That's good enough. I'll clean this. Now we're going to do some masking. So we're going to bring this down, and I have already stamped the cauldron and the coins on some Post-it paper, and I'm going to cover up the coins with the Post-it mask. So if you, whatever item you want to be in the front of your design, you stamp that first. So because I'm covering this, and when I stamp the cauldron, the coins will seem to be in the front. So the masking will prevent the rim of the cauldron from showing up through the coins. Okay, clean this real quick. Now I'm going to grab a sharp knife because I know it's not going to want to come up. And lift this out of the way, and there we are. The coins are in the front. Okay, moving to the next step. I trimmed the extra white off of this square because I didn't want it to be as large as it was. So the rest is going to be simply putting everything together. So a little bit more watercoloring and a little ink blending on the edges of this. So I'm going to let the music play and put the card together for you. right, that's the finished card. Went together really quick, just like I promised. And despite a few bumps in the road, I got it together. And I decided to, instead of putting 2 of the medium size rhinestones, I put 3 of the smaller ones. This is how I decide how many rhinestones to put on. I've never mentioned that. The small ones I tend to put 3. The mediums I tend to put 2. And the large ones, I save those for like the centers of flowers and things like that. As you see, this comes in, I think you can see the red pretty well. It comes in 3 different sizes. A little bit more information for you. Okay, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'd like to thank you for all the wonderful comments that I'm getting and all the positive flow that's coming out. I'd like to thank my brother David for the music that he's providing for the channels, and I hope you are enjoying it. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Take care.